Morning, and welcome to a slightly cloudy, not clouded. Oh, I suppose it could be clouded, Djuma Private Game Reserve. My name is Brent Smith, and of course on the back with me is my good friend Brian and the Thumb. As you will see, it's Monday. The Thumb is wearing a blue tie for the Monday Blues. But if you look more closely, the Thumb has a smile, because who needs Monday blues when you live in the bush? But it's great to have you with us on our live African safari. We are in search of Karula, the female leopard, and her two cubs. I've checked where we found them yesterday, and alas, they have scoffed, gobbled, and swallowed the baby impala, and they've moved off. So we're trying to find some tracks to find out which direction they moved off, and it is quite nice to be a bit cool this morning. Yesterday was an absolute scorcher, a sauna of a day, and it sat between, I think the heat of the day got over 100, 102, 103, and then by the time Sunset Safari started it was 99. So, but we did have lots of fun on the Sunday, and I hope you guys enjoyed the fireside chat. We didn't have a fire, of course, this day. There was no need. Just being inside the tent that's been in the sun all day was the equivalent to sitting inside a fire. I was going to say inside a boiling witch's cauldron was what I was going for. So it was very warm in that tent, but it was wonderful to have you there, and quite a happy story to end off the white muscle disease that the Nkumas are now up and atom, so to speak, and the cubs are making a miraculous recovery, and so have the adults. Now, where did Karula go? Now, I'm pretty sure she didn't come up here. I'm pretty sure she's headed further down to the east, but one must make sure that she hasn't gone this way first, and then we work our way down to where we think she might be. There's also a very strong possibility that Karula is just lounging on the edge of quarantine, waiting for a poor unsuspecting baby impala to meander towards the edge, and where she will pounce. And we're going to go see that area a bit later. I just want to make sure she hasn't gone further to the west. But of course, I'm not the only one out and about, so let's go say good morning to Byron.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Byron, and with me on camera this morning is VM. And it's a pity Karula has moved off, but it was a small impala lamb, so a female leopard like that will finish that quite quickly, especially with those two hungry cubs. But I'm going to give Brent a quick little hand and just see if we don't see tracks of her moving anywhere. But then my plan for this morning is to head over to Cheetah Plains. I haven't been down there for quite a while, so I'm interested to go have a look around, and perhaps, if we are lucky, maybe see some cheetah, or who knows what this morning holds for us. Just having a good look around here. I don't want to miss tracks. If Brent is looking for Karula while I'm driving towards Cheetah Plains. It's a very nice cool morning. I like these mornings, overcast, much better than yesterday. Yesterday was so hot yesterday afternoon, it really was. See what we can find. I'm hoping we get to see some elephant today. That would be wonderful. I haven't really seen much elephant around this stint that I've been here, the last 2 or 3 weeks. Just trying to scan very, very carefully and have a look for any signs of leopard tracks, or anything for that matter. Who knows? Maybe the Nkuhuma pride is around somewhere. I'm not sure where they have been. Bless you. Here, was that a laughing dove that I could hear calling in the distance? The birds are calling. There's a long-billed crombeck. There's tree. It was calling, tiny little bird with almost no tail. Let me see if I can find a picture of one quickly for you. Beautiful bird. They not very colourful, but they've got a wonderful call and very interesting shape, but difficult to see actually. But they've got quite a distinct call, the long-billed crombeck. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. And it's that little guy over there. Look at that beautiful little long-billed crombeck. That's what I could hear calling. But they are small and they jump in and around little bushes. It's not easy to see them. Roger, you say you'd like to see wild dog and hyena. Well, let's see. You never know. I'd also like to see wild dog. Trying to think now. I've only seen wild dog once since I've been working with Wild Earth. Yeah, I've only seen them once, so it would be great to see them again. Yesterday, myself and VM didn't have much luck on the vehicle. We were searching and searching. We just couldn't really find much. But perhaps today is different. And it's good. I think days like that keep us humble. Well, I haven't seen any tracks, unfortunately, while I've been driving along here. So let's head back to Brent, get an update from him and see if he's had any luck.
So we're slowly heading towards the north down Philemon's cut line. Now, the wonderful thing about walking with some of the different guys out here, and Brian and I were lucky enough to walk with Aubrey yesterday, and Aubrey's been here for 27 years, so he's got this incredible wealth of knowledge just on Djuma and the surrounding areas. And I mean, we drive down here and I've always assumed Philemon's named after someone, and so I was like, well, Aubrey, where's Philemon's come from? And Aubrey starts, he's a very, very, very funny man, but it takes a while to get to know. He sits there and he goes, oh, starts laughing. It was after an older tractor driver, but he was old already then, so he must have been very old. And apparently he was quite a cantankerous old guy. Oh no! And he used to drive the tractor and maintain the roads. But if he decided he was tired, he could have 20 guys out for the day to be working with him doing stuff. He would just park the tractor in the shade and swear at them and tell them all to go away and have a sleep. So, and apparently he was a massive character and grew up on Djuma. So there we go. And those of you who ever wondered where Philemon's cut line comes from, it comes from Philemon, the cantankerous tractor driver. So there are not too many names of roads out here that bear the names of people. So the only other two I can think of are Rebecca's and Zoe's road, and that's of course Yuri and Pippa's daughters. So, rightly so, they have roads named after them. Oh, sorry, Emerald Spotted Wood Dove, I didn't mean to give you a fright within an inch of your life while you're still dozing. He was sitting up in the tree, and as we went past, he was like, oh, what's that? Off he went. Remember, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or questions@WildEarthTV if you'd like to ask us anything about what's happening out here in the African bush. Now, with that wind last night, it's going to make... I'm pretty sure actually they would have moved after the wind, the leopards that is, so there's a good chance that the tracks are not going to be completely obliterated, but this light does make one strain the eyes slightly. Well, it's a good start for Byron in comparison to yesterday. It seems like he's found a creature, so let's go see which one.
It is indeed. Now we've got a group of Nyala, but they're two males and they're displaying against one another. There's the male on the bottom left there. The other one has just moved off, but look at how he's raised that mane on his back. And they're doing that beautiful Nyala dominance dance, really, is what they were doing. And they've just split up, unfortunately. And the Nyala moving through there. Look at that young Nyala, that is beautiful. There's a nice group of Nyala. A lot of females watching these two males displaying and challenging each other. And it looks like that one that we saw move off to the left, and you can just see his horns there. I think he won because the other one has moved off. Hang on, there he's coming back out into the open. Sorry, let's see if he does it again. No, but look how that he's now relaxed that mane. It's not standing up as much as it was earlier. He's walking a lot quicker. They do that very, very slow walk. Where's he going? I'd like to just have a look and see if that other male pops out again. Maybe they display for us again. So what they do is they do that circular dance almost around one another. They move very, very slowly, lift their legs up, put that mane up, and they've got this wonderful posture that they do, and then and this posturing and trying to intimidate the other one and drive the other one away. Let's see, I think I can see them coming through off to the left. Where are they? Here we go, hold on. Yes, they're doing that display now a little bit. Look, oh, wonderful. See, he lowers his head, straightens his legs, lifts them very slowly. Let's see if the other one responds. This is fantastic. This is really a great start. Now, usually it's only the displaying. And Sammy Soccer, I was about to answer your question, very good question. You asked, do they dance as opposed to fight? Now, Sammy Soccer, they do usually just do this display and try and intimidate one another. Let me just move forward for you for a second. Now, usually they just do this display and they dance and they try and intimidate one another. However, I have seen a Nyala fight before, and it's actually quite violent. They're very, very powerful antelope, believe it or not. Wow, look at that. Isn't that wonderful? That slow movement, lowering the head, raising that mane on the back. Sometimes they even flick the tail up. This is really, really great. It would be amazing if we did get a fight live. That would be really, really interesting to see. See, the other one isn't really displaying as much. If you have a look there, let's see if he starts doing it now. But definitely challenging one another. It's incredible how slowly they move. See how he drops that head down. He's trying to show the horns off a little bit. Show that big mane. And look at those slow steps that they take. Isn't this wonderful? This is so great to watch. It's funny, the other one is not displaying at all, it's just walking past now, so I wonder if perhaps this display was a bit too intimidating for him. And it appears to be over. So perhaps this male has won. He has intimidated the other one enough. And there they go. Oh, I don't know. I don't know how we would know for sure. But look at that. Now it seems like it's over. And they're walking again. The interesting thing is both these males have moved away from the females in the opposite direction. The females moved directly behind them through the thicket onto the other side, through the drainage line. So don't really know who won this one. Just having a look. Yeah, that's interesting, very interesting behavior. Isn't that amazing how they walk and use those legs and dip their head? Just trying to have a look. There's still, that one's now displaying, that's the one that wasn't. Let's see, they definitely seem like they are challenging each other. Oh, you'll see the other one in the background now. It should come into frame shortly. There it is. Look at that, that one's raised its head. That's a fascinating behavior. Very interesting, and I think what's triggered this is purely because those females have been around. Because often you do get these bachelor herds with these Nyala, the males hanging around together, and they tolerate one another. But I think as soon as you throw females in the mix, then they try and challenge one another and see who is more dominant. Obviously, but that was great. That's a good start. You know, they're just moving off into the thicket now. Looks like they've stopped. I'm so glad you got to see that. It was wonderful. It sounds like we've got the squeaky brakes this morning again. Oh dear. Anyway, let us head over to Brent, get an update from him, see where he is, and any luck with the female leopard.
Well, we're just coming around the edge of quarantine on the western edge, right next to this little ravine here. And if Karula was going to grab an impala, it was going to be in this area, and she's going to drag it back there. We saw a female impala by herself who is still lactating. Whether it's one of the two babies that Karula's already eaten, or if it's a third, difficult to say. So in a little while, Commander Bond will be stretching his legs, so we'll probably just ask them to go have a quick look through that bottom corner there, see if maybe there's not another kill there, unless we get lucky with a drag mark or tracks. I think there's a strong possibility that they are still in this area and they've got another baby impala. Now, as I said, in baby impala season sometimes makes it quite hard to find the leopards, because they normally don't put them up in the tree before they finish eating them, and also when they drag it, it's often so light that you don't see the drag marks going across the road. So a baby impala is even lighter than a steenbok or a grey duiker. So sometimes you've just got to go on a gut feel. Oh, they flew away, don't worry, Brian. There's some parrots, but they've gone. A gut feel. A gut feel and a bit of thinking like a leopard, a bit of intuition like Brian and I did yesterday. We're pretty sure that even if Karula wasn't in this block, the cubs were, so she's going to be returning, and that's why we worked very slowly. We just meandered through here, and we were lucky enough to find all three in one walk. Now, Hasana wasn't too far from where Karula and Shongile were. It was probably about 600-700 meters. So there's a very good chance that they would have met up again. Now, it could also be that Hasana was just being Hasana. We've seen him do it before, where he wanders far from where his mom and sister are, chasing things, being an independent, naughty little boy. And so we're going to keep on this loop, and if we get no tracks, and we'll go have a quick look up towards the gate and the boundary for the Nkuhumas. And I don't know what the time is, but when James is out, if he gets out before we get back, we'll send him on a walk down there, and hopefully he'll be able to find them on foot. If we get back before James is out, I might take a quick stroll, but it's nice to send bushwalk into an area where you think they're leopards, because when we walk from the vehicle, track from the vehicle, obviously you can't be gone for too long. Where there is bushwalk, can really slowly work an area nicely and see if there's any sign of those animals there. Morning, Jason. Jason would like to know, on which property do we see the Anderson male leopard? We only have seen him on Arathusa, Jason, so that's where we see Mr. Anderson, and then again normally only on the western side of Arathusa, so from around the Murricane, maybe a little bit east of the Murricane River, and then most of his territory extends towards the Manyeleti River, and then follows the Manyeleti River all the way down to the Sand River. Oh, dearie me. Queen Karulski, why weren't you just sitting atop a termite mound waiting for us? That's definitely not Karula's style. But the nice thing about the cubs is sometimes they do get playful, and you suddenly spot a tail hanging from a tree. I'm not sure what this weather is going to do. I don't think it's going to rain. What do you think? Nah, I think it's too high, and I think I don't know if the sun's going to break it up. I think over the course of the day the sun might break it up, so I don't think we're going to get too much precipitation, not participation, precipitation out of these clouds. You're more than welcome to participate in the safari by using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, or the email address questions@WildEarthTV. Okay, so without having to go walk around in the bush for too long, I'm going to go see if we can find any sign of the lions. Hopefully they've decided to rejoin us after their little visit to Sibambili. Morning, Abby in Ohio. Now, Abby is wondering, do I think because the lions are more mobile, it might mean the hyenas make their way back to utilize the den sites on Djuma? Abby, I don't know, to be honest, and it's difficult to predict. I mean, the lion's been mobile for a couple of days now. You don't hear hyenas like you used to around here. I mean, they're not even raiding camp at the moment. We haven't lost a dustbin in about a week and a half, so there's no outward signs that they are back on Djuma, apart from the tracks. And obviously the hyenas wander 20 miles in a night, so that's nothing really to go by, and they wander all over the place. I hope so, Abby. That's probably the best answer I can give. And I have gone past and checked those den sites a couple of times. Was that a lilac-breasted roller? Was it a snort? Wind's not in our favour. Blowing the sound if it was an alarm call away from us. Now, when you're driving, often the lilac-breasted roller's nasal squawk can sound like an impala alarm call, but the fact that we didn't hear any more means it probably was a lilac-breasted roller somewhere there. But as I said, the wind is going away from us, so any sound, just catching the edge of it as it's carried away. Now again, for those of you who watched the Djuma dam cam, there was much thunder, lightning and threats of a raging torrent and downpour, but alas, I think we had about 9 spots. Seems like our drivers started off somewhat like Byron's of yesterday, with not much to be seen. But don't worry, the killer bees are on the case. We don't give up that easily. Di says, please find roaring lions. We miss them on the camera. I will do my utmost, Di, and hopefully we will find the Ngormas. It looks like the Birminghams have gone towards the east. So the last time I saw them, they were heading towards the Kruger boundary with Buffelshoek. Maybe going to visit the Torchwood Pride, see how their eastern front is holding. Seems like they've got tired of waiting for amber eyes to come into estrus, and they've either heard threat from the east in terms of new males, or maybe picked the whiff of a female who might be a little bit more forthcoming on the air, and they've marched off to the east. And of course I did forget a named road, and thanks to all of those who remind me, Aubrey's Road. Hey, you deserve your own road after 27 years. Hello Cindy, good morning, good morrow, or good evening, depending on where you are. Cindy would like to know, do animals ever get struck by lightning? Because there was an incredible amount of lightning last night. Yes, they do. And believe it or not, I've actually seen one get struck by lightning in Zambia. Generally not in areas like this, but on big open grasslands and plains it is possible. And in the Busanga Plains in the northern Kafue of Zambia, we were watching a lone buffalo bull munching away when he was untimely cooked alive by a lightning bolt. We went back to camp after that. We decided that enough chances, although in a car normally you're quite safe from lightning with your rubber tires. However, we generally make a dash home for lightning, as we've got a large aerial sticking out of our back, as well as how many, Brian? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 deep cell batteries, and it's all great if your tires are insulated, but we don't want to have a battery go kaboom. We're definitely far more allergic to lightning than rain. Okay, so I was hoping we might find some signs of the Ngaumas in this area. That's why we're going so slowly this morning. We're not rushing anywhere. One of the best little bits of advice I ever got was from my art teacher, and a very, very interesting man, had an amazing life, and he was a great fly fisherman, so we got on like a house on fire. And I tend to get quite excited and move around at great speed when the time calls for it, but when I was drawing and painting, what he said to me is he wrote down, and he had the most amazing handwriting, and he wrote down on this little white card, Festa lenta, apparently Latin for rush slowly. Whenever I start getting ahead of myself, I try to remember Mr. Penny, and Festa lenta, rush slowly. While we continue to rush slowly through the African bush trying to find what secrets there are to uncover, Byron has made it all the way down to the deep east and is on the plains of the cheetah.
Now we're on Cheetah Plains, and I've just found this beautiful Wildebeest eagle sitting right at the top of the tree. There was a lilac-breasted roller that was mobbing it earlier, and it's just perched up at the top there, scanning the landscape. I wonder what we're going to find on Cheetah Plains today. I'm hoping we have some luck. Lovely to see the Wildebeest eagle perched up on top of the tree like that. Just having a look around here for any tracks, signs of animals that might. Nothing yet, hang on. There's a waterbuck through there. A few waterbuck off to the right, there we go. No, it sounds like that lilac-breasted roller is back mobbing. Oh, it just disappeared, but it was shouting at that Waterbuck's eagle. I think that's what it was, shouting at. Oh dear. Looks like those waterbuck have moved off. Now, these rollers, it's incredible to see how they mob birds of prey, even though there won't be a direct threat to them, but they would still... Sorry, I'm just listening to updates on the radio while I'm here too. Sorry. Anyway, so those lilac-breasted rollers will mob birds of prey like a Waterbuck's eagle, even though there's no direct threat to them, purely because it is a bird of prey. They try and mob them and chase them away. We see it a lot with the gymnogene too, or the African harrier hawk, that gets chased by starlings and rollers and all sorts of birds and drongos. But the reason for that is it is a direct threat. That bird raids nests, looks for chicks or eggs and feeds on them, so that bird is a direct threat to them, and they try and mob it and chase it away. This eagle is not a direct threat to that roller. However, the rollers, they're quite territorial, and they don't like birds of prey around, and they'll come and mob them and try and chase them away. It's very interesting to see. Oh, there's a waterbuck back there again, another one. Just off to the right. Female waterbuck. That's nice. There's often waterbuck in this area. There is a little waterhole not too far from here, and I often see waterbuck around here. This little section of Cheetah Plains. And I've got a beautiful little stowaway this morning. Have a look at this moth. Looks like the wind last night damaged it a little bit. But beautiful, beautiful moth though. Look at those antennae and how hairy and furry this moth is. But I wonder, because it was so windy last night, we had that storm building up. We got a few drops of rain, nothing serious. It disappeared quite quickly, almost as quickly as it arrived. But it was wonderful to have the lightning and hear the thunder around us, and a bit of rain, and then it stopped, which was a bit unfortunate. I really thought we were going to get more rain, but alas, it was not to be. I wonder if this little guy is okay up here. See if I can just actually put it down, because I think the wind might blow it away. There we go. Come sit on the seat next to me. There we go. That's much better. It's probably warmer down there for it too. Alright, I'm going to head towards the clearings on Cheetah Plains. While I do that, let's head back to Brent and get an update.
Welcome back. We're now on our western edge. The Nkumas were not far from here last night. When you get these long roads like this, I always just like to pick up the binos, have a little squiz, and I can see a road. There we go. Now, it seems like they had a few more drops. We had 9 drops at camp up here in the western corner. I think they had 14 drops of rain. temperature is dropping a little bit, so I wonder if there isn't a bigger cloud bank coming in. So our weather almost always comes from the sort of southeast, and it is looking a little bit darker. Oh, let me stop for you. There. You can see there's a darker lower bank coming in, even you see below the darker bank. There it is. You can see the edge of it. So even these cool overcast days, they help in terms of breaking the drought, because what little surface water is here, it doesn't evaporate at the same rate, and of course it also gives quite a few of the plants some respite, because they do lose, the grass in particular, and some of the trees will lose a lot of their moisture to these sort of 99-degree days. Okay, come on in Kuhumas. This is where you were sleeping yesterday. Now all you need to do is a hop, a skip and a jump back to Djuma. They didn't hop and skip jump there. Now all this low cloud reminds me of a bit of an African folklore. Now it's an interesting one because it's not from the local tribes. It's one of the first settlers' folklores, and I'm sure some of you out there have been to Cape Town. Brian, have you been to Cape Town? He was born in Cape Town. So there we go. Brian's a Cape Townian. Brian, you don't speak like a Cape Townian. You don't go, oh my God, like there's a like mountain. It like gives peace. Yes, Cape Townians are basically their own little country out of from the rest of us South Africans. We do love them, but they are a bit strange. Who have we got from Cape Town in camp? He's Pretoria though originally. Jandre thinks he's Cape Townian. Yes, but he's from Joburg, but he's embraced the Cape Townian way. I'm just trying to think. Anyway, let's get back to a far more interesting story of how strange Cape Townians are. Final Control says none of us are Cape Townian, we're all hard workers. Yes, Cape Townians also like to book off at about 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. Okay, no, let's get back. So there was a guy by the name, one of the Dutch settlers, his name was Van Hunks. And there's now a burger joint that's very good, named after him in Cape Town. And so Van Hunks was quite a poor guy, used to do odd jobs around the Cape Colony. And then he just disappeared. And he returned many, many years later with lots and lots of cashish, money and horses and fancy hats, because they were big into the fancy feathered hats in those days, and the puffy sleeves, and so he came back with a lot of wealth that he did not have. And obviously all the rumours spread through the bustling metropolis of Cape Town, which probably had some population of about 400 and 500 settlers at that time. But he moved into a little house. He built himself a nice little house quite high up on the slopes. It was called, I can't remember the original name of that mountain, but we all know it now as Lion's Head. So he had a lovely little home there, and looking over both Table Bay and towards Camps Bay, Bantry Bay, very beautiful, beautiful place. And his favorite thing to do was to smoke tobacco. And there's a large flat rock on Table Bay, on Lion's Head Mountain, where he used to like to sit and smoke his pipe. He had one of those long clay pipes, and he used to smoke the strongest of strong tobacco. And one day Van Hunks was sitting on his flat rock, puffing away, and a stranger arrived in very fancy garb. And Van Hunks wasn't a very social man. A stranger arrived with his own long clay pipe and his own big bag of tobacco. And he had very fancy shiny clothes and a pointy fancy hat with lots of feathers. And he also had a Van Dyke's beard. It was very sort of sharply trimmed pointy beards with a pointy moustache. And he sat down and he tried to engage in conversation with Van Hunks. And Van Hunks sort of answered him in monosyllables, not so interested in chatting. Now, Van Hunks used to send his staff off to go do the shopping and that, and he used to avoid the harbour. So that's where everyone thought maybe he became a pirate, and that's how he gained all this wealth that he didn't have when he left. And there was all sorts of rumours that he might have murdered his crew, took their share of the loot and as well and all that. So he was sitting on the rock, and the other gentleman who had now joined him also started puffing on his pipe. And eventually, after a long time, he managed to stimulate some conversation out of Van Hunks. And Van Hunks, being a cagey individual, never really gave on where he gained his wealth, what he did. He just sort of carried on answering in very short sentences. And then the stranger said, "I am the greatest smoker in the Cape Colony." And Van Hunks chuckled and he said, "No, my dear, good sir, I am the greatest smoker. No one smokes more tobacco than me, and no one enjoys it more than me." So the stranger says, "Van Hunks, a wager, sir. And I will bet you I can smoke more tobacco and enjoy it more than you." Van Hunks laughed and said, and the wager, and I'll wager it for your soul. Van Hunks laughed. Quack, 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 quack. "I lost my soul many years ago. Why not let's just smoke for the pure enjoyment of smoking?" And they started smoking. And they smoked. One day went by, and the smoke from their rock was blown by the southeaster and the big wind that comes off the Atlantic Ocean in Cape Town, and it went up onto Table Mountain, and it slowly started forming a tablecloth. 3 days, 4 days. Eventually, after 5 or 6 days, the stranger collapsed. It was green in the face. His hat fell off. And Van Hunks said, "I knew it! I knew you were the devil!" His horns were showing. And the devil was very, very angry that he was outsmoked by Van Hunks. And their smoking had caused the tablecloth to spread over Table Mountain. And the devil, enough of this, said, "That's it, Van Hunks, you're coming with me." But he said, "But I won the smoking competition." And he says, "I don't care." And rushed him off to hell. And now sort of the original Dutch folklore and Cape Malay folklore is that whenever the southeaster blows and the tablecloth comes onto Table Mountain, Van Hunks has irritated the devil so that he takes him back to his favorite smoking rock, and Van Hunks and the devil sit in companionable silence going. So there you go, a bit of a different South African folklore, away from the more traditional ones. There are quite a few of those, of ghosts and all sorts. So here we go, thought I'd mix it up a little bit. And that's also because we have not seen a track or an impala. But hopefully there's something on impala plains. Hi Jason, Curtis thought I was starting off with a Robin Hood story. I'm trying to think of any sort of Robin Hood-like folklores or stories from this part of Africa, and I can't think of any offhand. Maybe something to research. Oh, it seems like I can hear Aubrey, and that means Bushwalk's about to be out, so I just want to send them in the right direction to go look for where I think those leopards might be. And as you can see, Impala Plains is devoid of even bird life this morning. Aubrey. Morning, Orbs. I checked last position, the Nyalas Palil, but there was one female impala wandering around by herself, calling to the southwest of the Bushbrae site. So maybe they've caught another one down in the Skova there. Okay, there we go. We've deployed our mobile unit, our mobile foot unit, which was of course Brian and I yesterday, and Aubrey. Now, we haven't had I suppose we have had some quiet mornings recently, but I mean, I haven't had a morning this quiet in a long time. It's that in-between weather. It's not really good for birding. So the wind's a bit strong, not quite enough moisture in the air. Well, it seems like quiet is the standard for this morning's sunrise drive so far. Remember, so far. So let's go see how quiet it is on Cheetah Plains.
Now, I've just got to the plains on Cheetah Plains, and I don't see too much at the moment. I'm scanning to see if there are cheetah around. So using the binoculars and scanning very, very carefully. Nothing just yet. But what I do see, it is quite nice. Let's have a look down here. Some wildebeest with little calves. Nice bit of water down here. It almost looks like this area got a lot more rain than we did last night. See little mud pools and wallows, a little bit of mud here and there. Right, there we go. And I just heard half the name, so I do apologize. It sounded like Brian from Missouri was asking, do we get flash floods? Angela from Missouri wanted to know, do we get flash floods in this area? And if so, does it affect animals? So, Angela, we don't necessarily get a lot of flash floods around here. We do, I say that, but we have had in the past. After heavy rains, all these little drainage lines fill up and they flow into the rivers, and that causes the water to rise quickly. But the animals all know the instinct kicks in, and then they're able to get to safety. They just go to higher ground, that's all. You might get one or two animals affected, but very, very little. And we had some serious floods in 2010. It was very bad, this whole area of Kruger. There was a cyclone over Mozambique, and it affected this area very, very badly. And we had devastating floods. A lot of areas were very badly affected, and but the animals seem to be fine. Have a look at those beautiful little wildebeest calves now. Lovely to see them. It's really nice and peaceful out on these plains. It's still very, very overcast and cloudy, but fortunately we've got the wildebeest around here. I'm still just scanning around, having a look to see if there's anything else walking about that we might find very interesting. I haven't seen predators in this area for quite some time, and I mean, we do know we get those cheetah that pass through occasionally, but that doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. Nice and open here though. So it's actually a lovely area just to scan and have a look around. Joyce, you'd like to know where all the ostriches disappeared to, so I think they probably just flew into Kruger. Joyce, I'm not sure. I haven't seen ostriches here before. I think they were around just before I kind of started helping out here, but there are ostriches in this area, and they do come through occasionally. I think what happens is, depending on probably the weather and the vegetation, the rain that we've had and the change in vegetation has a lot to do with it. They've probably had to move into areas where there's more food for them, so that could be anywhere really. No sign of predators at the moment, no sign of these cheetah. But you never know, they could appear at any point, any stage. I can hear some of those European bee-eaters flying above us again. Can't see them, but I can just hear them. They're through. Sounds something like that. Very strange. Beautiful call though, and you can just hear them flying really, really high, and especially when the weather's like this. And I said it yesterday, we heard them and we saw a few flying about. So they usually do call and fly really high if the weather is bad and if there's a potential chance of rain. Now I wonder if they're not doing it again because they think it's going to rain. It's amazing, you can hear them but you can't see them at all. And it's very, very cloudy this morning, so there could be a chance of rain. It would be nice. It's such a nice cool morning. Now Brent and I are not the only ones out this morning. Apparently Van Hunk himself is joining us, and he's doing the bushwalk this morning. Let's go and meet him.
Good morning, everybody. It's lovely to be with you here on this, well, I suppose slightly blustery and crisp morning on foot from the wilds of the Greater Kruger National Park. Jean-Andre is on camera. Hello, Jean-Andre. It's very nice to be back with Jean-Andre on foot. Of course, this is my first experience with him for some time on account of his disease, which is now finished, is it? Yes. Good, it's finished, everybody. Now, over here, we have some impala. They have obviously run away. That's because of Byron, who was talking nonsense about me, and so the impala have run away, and there were lots of them around here. We're on quarantine clearings. Our plan this morning is to head off towards that area there, where there is a sort of braai site. That's a sort of barbecue site, if you like, where the guests in the lodge go and have their dinner sometimes. And that's because Brent Leo Smith is not cooking us anything, but he did think he heard some impala alarm calling in that area. We know Karula's around here. We found one track already just down the way there, so maybe she's around here with the youngsters. And I think for the next little while she's going to spend time here, because of these clearings are the only clearings in the area that afford the animals this kind of a view. I think she's going to spend time here because of the little impala. There are always going to be little impala somewhere around here, and I think many of them are going to fall prey to the delightful Queen of Djuma. Now, the other thing to say to you, of course, is that we are as live as Byron and Brent, and that means you must talk to us, please. #SafariLive, questions at WildEarthTV. And while we are going to hopefully spot Karula, we're also going to be looking for the smaller things that we can find out here, and hopefully we'll find some little gems of the summer. We're on account of the fact that it's a bit cloudy. There's not a great deal, I don't think, that there's going to happen in the way of insect activity, but we might find the odd spider, perhaps a scorpion or so. Let's go and find out. Chandre, stop dilly-dallying, man. Let's get on with things. Now, one of the things that I wanted to tell you about, or what that I've been observing over the last little while, last season, during the drought, I made a long comment about the fact that I thought there was going to be a little bit of bush encroachment, because I gave the long and involved explanation of how it is that a seedling like this has a long taproot system, whereas a grass like this over here obviously doesn't. It's got a very sort of shallow-rooted, adventitious root system. And that means when there's rain, the grass is sort of at a competitive advantage. It's got that shallow root system, so it grows up much more quickly because the water is in the surface. And when there is not a lot of rain, the taproot system of a tree like this, a root that goes deep down, is a much more effective strategy. So in a drought year like we've just had, the trees tend to take hold in the absence of competition from the grasses. I hope that makes sense. Now, we've had good rain this year, not amazing but not bad, pretty much normal. And last year we noticed, if Jandre, sorry, I'm going to ask you to come around this way, Jandre. If we look at all of these seedlings here, they were not here at the beginning of 2015, and they've all kind of grown up now, I think, on the back end of that drought. Now, the thing with bush encroachment is once it begins, it's very difficult to reverse. And so this is the process of the beginnings of bush encroachment here. The bush is taking over the grass, and it's going to be interesting to see if the grass manages to compete in amongst these trees. I mean, this clearing has been artificially cleared many times, and I suspect that is probably going to have to happen again. And again, if we look over here, you can see that the trees are taking over, and this will very shortly be a fairly large thicket just around where my stick is pointing there. So that's the case of the ecology of quarantine clearings. On we go. Brent apparently has an update for you. Let's head straight across to him, and I'll keep you posted on any leopard tracks that we find.
So we've extended our search outside. The Nkumas are definitely, from the area we checked, have not crossed back into Djuma. So I think I will go down towards Cheetah cut line. What do you think, Brian? Yeah. Take a slow bumble that way. Now, one of the reasons I want to go towards Cheetah cut line is that it's the area that's had probably the most rain on Djuma. So maybe we'll find a flower or two we haven't seen. And I just haven't been there for a while. So I know I have full faith in James and Aubrey that if Karula and the cubs are in that area around quarantine, that's the best chance we have at finding them. So I think we will spread our wings and move further to the east of Djuma. Unless, of course, we find tracks, or even better, we find a cat. There was one Birmingham apparently last night in Buffelshoek, so who knows, maybe he's meandered to the south. So it's that funny weather. It's not quite good weather for birding, it's not good weather for mammals. Well, unless you've got cats, but you've got to find them first. Could be on the move, could be stepping leaping out in front of us any second. Now? No, not this second. So Brian and I were discussing, we're going to make a play at our record, which is 38 bird species in one sunrise safari. Not today. We've decided we're going to have to choose the right weather before we make a play at it, and we think we got 38 species without the cuckoos and the redback shrikes and the other migrants that are here now. So we're thinking we might hit that miracle 50 if we choose our morning correctly. And ooh. Andrew, will I get visual from Cheetah Cutline? Copy, thanks Andrew. I'm on Twin Dams. I'm making my way towards that area. Wonder what it is, wonder what it is. Excitement to see. We can go from just ambling along, and you know, when you know, it's going to happen on Cheetah Cutline. That's where we were going. We're just going to go there a little faster now. Still making sure we don't miss Karula's tracks, don't worry. We like to keep things in suspense. So we're going to race towards Cheetah Cutline, and while we do that, I wonder what's happening in the far east. And of course I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about Cheetah Plains.
That's exciting. We have not found anything. We're scanning these areas, having a look around now. There were side-striped jackal around this area last time I was here. Wondering if they're about this morning. That would be great. Oh, what have they done here? This is new. Looks like they've built a dam. Oh, they have indeed. And it's not quite full at the moment. There's actually no water yet. They're expecting heavy rains, I believe. I think if it fills up, this will be a beautiful dam. This is new. Trying to remember where this road goes. This is all very different now. Oh, there we go. Look at the bee eaters. Bee eaters. Sorry, but it's just. There they go. Just off to the left of that tree. Those are all the European bee eaters. Wow, look how many there are. That's fantastic. And you might be able to hear them. I'm going to keep quiet for a second. Do you hear that? Beautiful sound, lots of them. That's a nice flock of European bee eaters, and I do think the weather's got something to do with it. That's why they are flying and calling constantly like that. But that was nice to see the European bee-eaters. Let me try to show you a close-up of them. They are very, very colourful, beautiful birds. Let me quickly find it. Now, that's the colour in the or the picture that the books would have. A beautiful picture over there, and then I'll show you a photo of one. Beautiful colour, look at that. Really, really beautiful birds, and amazing how they migrate all the way down to southern Africa in our summer. They come back for the summer. And they go up to North Africa and Europe, hence European bee-eater. I think to Spain, I think they're around Spain, the southern parts of Spain, so all over. Well, Soraya, you want to know, is there one location that's considered to be the birding capital of the world? Yeah, I've never heard of anything like that. I don't think so. I mean, every area is different. There are birds all over. You know, South America has got amazing birds. Madagascar's got wonderful birds. Parts of Africa, the various parts of Africa all have different bird species all over. So I don't think there's a particular capital. No, I'm trying to think where else it's got amazing birding. Yeah, you know, I think every area is different. Every area is beautiful, and especially out in the bushveld, or these areas that we are in, there's wonderful bird life. Really is wonderful bird life. Botswana has a lovely abundance of birds because they get a lot of these birds that we're seeing here, but also because there's so much water around, you do tend to see a lot more water birds, which are very interesting and different. There's a jackal, there we go, well spotted, Wiem. There's a side-striped jackal straight ahead of us. Don't run. There we go, yes. Just as I was speaking about them, saying we do see them, or last time I was here I saw them. That's a beautiful side-striped jackal. The other jackal species we get in the area is the black-backed jackal, but we don't see them that often. Well, not in this area, but in the rest, the rest of Kruger and that, they are more dominant than the side-striped. You do see more black-backed. Just trying to see if there is another one around here, perhaps. There we go. There's the other one. It's coming. It looks like that is possibly the female. They are usually in pairs. And occasionally you might get family groups together, male, female, and youngsters. Lovely. Unfortunately, these books don't give too much information on mating and that of the side-striped jackal, but as far as I know, they do stay in pairs, and they do have litters between 4 and 6 pups usually that they'll look after, and then they I've seen it a few times, male and female always together, and then they'll have these little pups around in a den site. Have a look, there's a bird being mobbed by a roller. Let's see what that is. Oh, the glare at the moment is a bit you know what that is? That looks like a yellow-billed kite. That's exactly what that is. Beautiful yellow-billed kite. Wow. Look at that tail. Typical kite tail. So things are happening for us, slowly but surely, thank goodness. And there it goes. Now they do scavenge quite a bit too, the yellow-billed kites. They will also try and look for their own food. Might potentially hunt. They feed on little termites in there too, and other insects. Oh, Dina, you say when we see jackal, they're often yawning. I didn't notice that now. Maybe I missed it. You know what happens is I think with us driving past, we may have disturbed them. They may have been lying down resting. These side-striped jackal are generally nocturnal, so I think they were possibly resting in the clearings around here. And maybe with the vehicle coming, they are very shy and they tend to move away quite quickly. Yeah, they are. They're still just off to the left. Now let's see if they yawn again. So what I think has possibly happened is with us driving past and disturbing them and them waking up and moving, just like we see with the big cats, these animals, when they start yawning, it's a sign of waking up and they're getting oxygen into their body. So I don't think it's a specific thing for jackal or anything. I think it's purely we must have disturbed them. They got up and they moved around. Devon, you asked if the jackal varieties can interbreed. So one thing in nature is that you actually don't get interbreeding between different species. It's interesting, but it's nature's way. And I mean, you do hear of stories of different animals being created by areas that possibly put the only example I can think of now is a lion and a tiger in the same area, and then they try and get them to mate, and they form this liger, I think. But that's not natural. That would never happen in nature. And with these jackal, no, they would not mate with black-backed jackal. Oh, there we go. There's a yawn. So I don't think it's nervous behavior at all. That I think that is purely waking up, getting active, and possibly looking for some food. They are beautiful, aren't they? This is a really, really nice surprise. Marking its territory, just as a canine would, and we know the jackal are part of the canine family. Look at those beautiful bushy tails. I do like jackal, I really do. Susan, all the way from Florida, you asked, are these tails on these jackal on the side striped a little bit more bushy than the black-backed? I think they are, Susan, and I think they're a little bit longer, but they both have bushy tails. Let me try to find a picture of the black-backed and side striped quickly. Here we go. So just a quick look, but both have bushy tails, and you can see that, but the side striped tail does seem to be a little bit longer. And also the side striped jackal is said to be a little bit larger than the black-backed, slightly larger by a few centimeters and 1 or 2 kilograms, not by much, but they do look quite different. There we go. I can hear a squirrel alarm calling, and I think it might be at the jackal that are moving through there. I can just see them, they're just moving off through the thicket, and I think that squirrel is alarm calling at the jackal. Now, Casey, you wanted to know what the jackal's diet consists of. Now, the jackal is mainly a scavenger. However, the side-striped jackal are slightly different. And I'll tell you why. The side-striped jackal, can you believe it, do feed on a lot of fruit. So they are omnivores. They sometimes birds, reptiles, insects. They do scavenge on carrion at times, but even fruit. These little side-striped jackal have been known to eat fruit, whereas the black-backed jackal is a little bit different. It is mainly a strict carnivore, and it will feed on carrion, and they scavenge a lot, but they do also hunt for themselves if they have to. I've seen black-backed jackal hunting springbuck, which is another antelope that we get in Africa. We don't have them in this area though, but it's just a little bit smaller than an impala, and they do hunt for themselves. If they're in big groups, they will be able to hunt. But yeah, the black-backed jackal, also rodents and various other small creatures, but generally scavenge, whereas these little side-striped jackal will feed on just about everything. Alright, now Brent, I think, has arrived at a surprise that he was racing to. Let's go and have a look what it is.
Well, there we go. It is not the best view of a leopard we've ever had, and she is very far away, but fortunately for us, she's up in a tree, so we can just see her from our eastern boundary. And it is a leopard we don't see as often as we would like to. It is Tundi, and she's having a snooze in a fallen marula tree at the moment. How far would you say that it is from us, Brian? 900 meters? 300.
Yeah.
There we go. She's looking at us. Yay! Hello, Madam Tundi. It's Jamie's favourite. Looks like she's got quite a fat belly. Now, no sign of the cub so far. Could be around, but as I said, we're quite far away from it. Now, the direction she's looking, there is a herd of impala closer to us. So you never know what's going to happen. She might come visit our eastern boundary. Prim, just keep coming down Cheetah Cutler until you get my visual. Oh, tired kitty. Now, nice, cool, windy morning like this. It's good for hunting. As I said, it looks like she's quite well fed, but if an unsuspecting impala was to meander towards her, she would definitely attempt. Now, for those of you who might have joined us recently, and we've been seeing quite a lot of Queen Karula, who is the dominant female on Djuma. Now, this is Tundi, who's part of her first litter. So this is the first cub that Karula ever raised to adulthood, her and her sister Shadow. Now, Karula is flanked on both sides by her daughters. To the east is Tundi, and to the west is Shadow. Now, that is quite normal for leopards. So as a female cub reaches maturity, if there is space, their mother will give them a part of their territory to start off their life, and she will try move or fight for new territory, and to give the female cubs a good start in life. But we're going to sit here. Hopefully she comes down quickly to James.
Sorry to drag you away, everybody, from that beautiful leopard, but I don't think she's going anywhere. I think this chap probably will eventually. This is a great spotted cuckoo, and they're not common. I mean, look, we see them every year, but they're not common, and I just think that they're quite spectacular looking birds. Amazingly coloured. Oh, that's just wonderful. To have a sighting this length with one of these birds is very special indeed. I'm just going to try and quickly figure out which bird it is that they parasitize. I'll sort that out now quickly. And of course, as we know, the cuckoo's nasty parasites, very nasty to all other birds. They parasitize commonly the pied starling, which we don't get here at all. And crows. We also don't get crows here, really. That's interesting. I wonder what else they parasitize. Pied crow, cape crow, pied starling, red-winged starling, pale-winged starling. I suspect it's probably Birchall starling in this area that they're parasitizing. So a whole nesting bird, Birchall starling, and they'll find the nest of the Birchall starling probably in one of these silver cluster leaves around here, like the one that he's looking in there, of course. Now, that wasn't a silver cluster leaf, but the combretums do produce nesting holes, and I think that's probably what he's looking for, that of the Birchall starling. Isn't that very special? I think that's marvellous. Now, we've come along down through here, still looking for Karula. We saw some monkeys. They didn't look particularly panicked by life at all. And so we've carried on, and we'll just sort of walk through this beautiful block here. It's one of my favourite areas to walk, and see if we can't find the leopard. And also, just quickly while we're standing here, we'll see if we can't spot what the cuckoo, which nest it's trying to get. Aubrey can see it. Where's it, Aubs? On the ground. Oh, yeah. You see it there, Gendry? Well spotted. Isn't this special? And they'll be insect eaters largely, so grubs and beetles and that sort of thing. I think this is very spectacular. You can probably just hear a little bit of the wind blowing. We had a very loud dawn chorus this morning, and then it kind of dissipated quite quickly as the light came, and the birds realized that it was going to be cloudy. And so, in slight objection, they headed off into the bushes. Or they just had to go to work today, Jean, it being a Monday morning and all that. Yeah.